Hi, everybody. So I'm just gonna share a new update to that post I made on January 28th, talking about the concurrent attacks. One was going to be against Israel, and one is going to be against the U.S. So I knew who was going to attack the U.S. It was going to be Russia and China, and but I didn't know who was going to be attacking Israel. But then a couple of days ago, God told me that it was going to be coming from Syria. And so I don't know who it is exactly, but he just said it's going to be coming from Syria. And then, but of course, he said they would not prevail against both the U.S. and Israel. So those attacks are not going to go anywhere. But he also asked me to share something. And it's always kind of risky when you share a dream, because sometimes the dreams are actually like super super personal, and but then sometimes they could be prophetic, which I guess in this case it was. But I didn't want to share it, but God said to share it, so here it is. This is my dream journal from like a couple years ago. This was in 2016 when I had this, July 21st, 2016. So it says, this is so confusing because there's just some weird symbology in here. But okay, so I was driving a car with my brother, but in parentheses I wrote or husband because I wasn't sure if it was my brother or my husband. So, and I was a passenger, and my sister-in-law Alicia was in the back seat, and suddenly something in the car or another car, it hit us, and we went spiraling toward the edge of a bridge. And the car was about to go over, and since my passenger side was leaning over, was the closest one that was leaning over the side, I sensed that it would go I sensed it would go over if I didn't leave the car. So I was dangling upside down over the edge of a canyon, and I unbuckled and I fell to my death. I don't know what this dream is about, okay? But okay, as I was falling, I kept thinking, let it be quick, let me have no pain. And suddenly, I was a great yellow ball of energy. And I thought I would leave the earth and enter the realm of heaven, but I was stuck on earth, and my form retook my human shape, and I was walking the earth as a spirit. And I attended my own funeral, and I learned that I could hold my loved ones by wrapping myself around them like a second skin or something like that. And I cried when I thought of how I would never see my baby girl again, how I would miss out on her graduation and having a mother, and I was praying that she would be protected. And I told her I would always be with her as I held her close. And she saw me, and she never cried at the funeral. She never even realized what was going on, which made me feel my own sadness at what she had not yet understood, that there would be no mommy coming home that night or ever. So sad. Such a weird, okay, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but God told me to share it, okay? So anyway, I had out my arms, and she sat on my lap, and I held her. And as I looked up, I wondered how I could be with her always. And then the room transformed, and suddenly a youngish man was there, holding out his arms, not in welcome, but in power. And he told me I could stretch myself around the world, or I could curl myself around certain individuals, and I could be part of the atoms that make up every breath they breathe. Okay, so at that part, when that man appeared, he had his arms outstretched like this, like he was wanting to be worshipped or something. And I sensed that he was trying to be like Jesus, but he wasn't Jesus. I could sense it in my dream. Like, I feel like he was the enemy. And so that was why I rejected it. And then in my dream, I rejected it. And I was suddenly, I found myself back in human form, and I was powerless. And so I walked the earth, and I was visited by my husband, but then in parentheses it says brother, question mark. And then I saw him lying down on a bed sleeping, but I saw he had a deep gash in his belly, and as I looked closer, I realized that he should be dead too, because it was all black around his belly. And he woke, and he saw me, and he laughed because he saw how powerless I was. And he said, "Do you not even know what you can do?" But I was still amazed at how he was living with a black hole in his belly. And he waved his hand like this, and all the lights and all the lights turned on and all the doors unlocked, and everything became opposite of what it was before. And he told me he had tried to use his nitrous to blast my head off, and it had misfired on him. I don't know. Don't ask me why I'm sharing this dream. I don't know. Anyway, he pulled out a large wood carving that looked familiar but occultish. And that word was like written out. It was in my head. It was occultish, and it like stood out to me even after I woke up from my dream. Anyway, it had the look of the 12 disciples eating the Last Supper. And so I followed him to a storehouse as he was carrying this carving, and he met with two others in hopes of healing himself quicker. And while they were not paying attention, I stole the carving and I left the house to hide down the street. This is a super long dream, so I'm sorry, it's going to be a little bit long. Anyway, so they came running and I stole the carving and I left the house to hide down the streets. And then they came running after me, and husband/brother found me sooner than I could finish hiding the canvas under a bush and under some leaves. And he laughed, saying, You will have to do better than that." And so I grabbed the carving and ran into the house before me. And he followed me in, and I was ahead of him, but I looked back behind me, and he was touching people. Like every time he would touch somebody, that person would turn into like a zombie, and they became hunting after me. And the only place that I could find any refuge was anywhere there was running water. And so I don't know if it was the water that would, either the water would distract them or they couldn't hear me because of the water. And so the man continued to chase me around the house, which was more like a village, because in each room there was a different arena of civilization. Like one was a laundromat, one was a marketplace, one was like a restaurant. And so I finally came outside. Okay, I backtrack. And so it was a whole civilization until he had turned the whole village into zombies. And I finally came outside to a street, and there were a string of stallions, which ties back to my stallion visions from another video. So check that out too. So a string of stallions came running towards me, and there were a bunch of different colors, but the first one in the lead was a black one, and then there was a brown one behind it, and a red one, and a white one, and like all these different colors. And so I wrote it down here. So there are 4 of them. There was a white, a red, a brown, and a black one. And the black one was at the front. And he turned, and I jumped on his back with the carving. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh my gosh! Whoa, okay. Look, white, red, brown, and black. Those are all the colors that I saw for the Horsemen of the Apocalypse back in my video post about the apocalypse. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, now I know why God told me to reread this. Anyway, so once I was there, I started walking and leading the horse by my side, which was the black horse. And as I looked back, I could see strange trees sprouting from the ground, covering my trail and making the area impenetrable. And these trees looked like cactuses. So they had really big branches, and on the branches were these spikes that were going out from them. And they kind of became like this big fence of cactus trees. But then the cactus trees started to blossom and have these pretty flowers on them. So they're actually really pretty. And then I saw that man who had been following me and chasing me. I saw him looking at me from a distance, but he couldn't follow. And then I saw my daughter drive up to the trees in the golf cart, and she was calling for me as she made her way past the trees to my side. And she was at an angle where the land was not blocked by the trees. So she was kind of at, like, there's a line, but then she was kind of at the side where there wasn't any trees. So that was how she was able to pass through. And then the dream ended with me feeling a huge sense of power and strength. So that was the end of that very convoluted and very strange dream. And that was back in 2016. That was actually right a couple months after I had officially become saved. Um, Wait, no. This was even before I became saved because I didn't become saved until August of 2016. So this was like a whole month before I officially like repented of all my sins because I was not living a godly life up until that point for like a couple years, for a long time actually. But so yeah, there's my crazy vision dream, and the dreams or the visions that I had about the horsemen and apocalypse I can link down below, and I'll also link the one about the stallions, which was, where did I talk about that? I feel like I talked about it in um, in the post about the wild ones. So yeah, I'm gonna link those below. And sorry, I'm such a horrible storyteller. Everybody tells me that, but I don't know why God called me to do this. So here we go. Bye guys.